I had a bad feeling about my own home, so I pretended to go on vacation. While I was spying from behind a dirty curtain, an elderly neighbor took me by the hand and whispered 4 words that made my blood run cold. At midnight, you will see. When midnight came, I fainted from what I saw. My name is Theodore Martinez. I'm 56 years old, and until 3 days ago I thought I was losing my mind. But I wasn't losing my mind, I was losing my life. If you're reading this, please share it, because what I'm about to tell you might just save your own life one day. It started on a Tuesday morning at the breakfast table. The smell of bacon usually made me hungry, but lately the mere scent of food made my stomach turn. My hands were trembling as I tried to lift my coffee cup. I'd been a structural engineer for 33 years, building bridges that could withstand hurricanes. Yet now I could barely hold a ceramic mug without spilling. Benjamin, my son-in-law, walked into the dining room. He didn't say good morning. He never really looked me in the eye. He looked through me like I was a piece of old furniture he wanted to throw out but couldn't lift. He tossed a blue envelope onto the mahogany table. It slid across the polished wood and stopped right next to my trembling hand. You're going to Florida tomorrow, Theo. He didn't ask, he didn't suggest. He ordered. I looked up at him. Benjamin was 35 years old, white with that confident smile of a man who has never had to work for anything in his life. He called himself a real estate developer, but in 3 years of marriage to my daughter Michelle, I'd never seen him actually develop anything. He spent Michelle's salary, and lately he'd been spending my patience. Florida? I asked, my voice sounding weak and raspy. Why would I go to Florida? Because you need rest, Benjamin said, pouring himself a glass of orange juice from my refrigerator. Dr. Jackson said, your little episode last week was a warning sign. The humidity will be good for your joints. I booked you into a nice assisted living resort. One-way ticket, first class. I looked at the ticket, one way. He wasn't sending me on vacation. He was shipping me out. I looked at Michelle. My beautiful daughter sat across from me, staring into her bowl of oatmeal. She wouldn't look at me. She knew. She knew this was an eviction, not a vacation. Michelle, I said softly, do you agree with this? She flinched. It was a small movement, but I saw it. She finally looked up and her eyes were filled with tears she was trying to hold back. Dad, it's for your own good, she said, but her voice sounded rehearsed like lines from a bad play. Benjamin says you need professional care. We can't watch you 24/7. You're getting confused, Dad. You forgot to turn off the stove yesterday. I hadn't forgotten. I knew I hadn't. I'd been an engineer. Precision was my life. But lately things were happening. Keys going missing. The stove being left on, my wallet appearing in the refrigerator. And this sickness, this constant dizziness and nausea that Dr. Jackson, Benjamin's friend from the golf club, dismissed as old age. Fine, I said, I'll go. The relief on Benjamin's face was instantaneous and insulting. He smiled and patted my shoulder with a heavy, condescending hand. That's a good man, Theo. You pack your bags. The car will be here at 8 a.m. I went to my room, but I didn't pack for Florida. I packed for war. The next morning, I played my part. I let Benjamin load my suitcases into the trunk of the luxury sedan he'd ordered. He hugged me, and it felt like being squeezed by a python. Don't worry about the house, Theo, he said, grinning. We'll take good care of it. I bet you will, I thought. I got into the car and watched them wave from the porch of my brownstone. My grandfather had bought this land. My father had built the foundation. I'd restored it brick by brick. It was worth $950,000 now in a neighborhood that was rapidly gentrifying, and Benjamin looked at it not like a home, but like a winning lottery ticket. As soon as the car turned the corner and we were out of sight, I leaned forward to the driver. Change of plans, I said. I held up a $100 bill. Don't take me to the airport. Take me to 4th Street. The driver looked confused, but money talks. He turned the car around. 4th Street ran directly parallel to my street. The back of the buildings on 4th Street faced the front of my building. I'd booked a room on Airbnb using an old email address Benjamin didn't know about. The car stopped in front of a crumbling building with peeling paint. It was a stark contrast to my pristine brownstone just 1 block over. I dragged my suitcase up 3 flights of stairs, my heart hammering in my chest, my legs feeling like lead. The room smelled of stale cigarettes and damp carpet. It was disgusting, but it had one redeeming quality, the window. I walked to the window and pulled back the greasy curtain. There it was, my house, my life. From this angle, I could see the front door, the living room windows, and the master bedroom balcony. I opened my suitcase and took out the only thing that really mattered, my military-grade binoculars from my days surveying bridge sites. I pulled up a chair and waited. For hours, nothing happened. The house was quiet, but I had a feeling in my gut, a feeling I hadn't had since I was walking inspection lines on suspension bridges in high winds. The structure was unsound. Something was about to snap. Around 4 in the afternoon, I saw movement in the hallway of the tenement building I was in. I cracked my door open to get some air because the room was stifling. Standing there was Patricia Lewis. She was 73 years old, sharp as a tack, and had lived in this neighborhood since before it was trendy. She knew everything and everyone. She was holding a bag of groceries. She looked at me. She didn't look surprised. She didn't ask why Theodore Martinez, the owner of the finest house on the block, was hiding in a dump like this. She just nodded. "I knew you weren't stupid, Theo," she said, her voice rough like sandpaper. "Mrs. Lewis," I started to explain, but she cut me off. "Save your breath. You look terrible. Your skin is gray." "I feel terrible," I admitted, leaning against the doorframe. She walked over to me and took my hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong. She pressed something cold and jagged into my palm. I looked down. "It was a rusty iron key that opens the old service gate in your back alley," she whispered. "The one your wife Rebecca, God rest her soul, used to use for the garden. Why are you giving me this, Mrs. Lewis?" She looked left, then right down the empty hallway, then leaned in close. Her eyes were full of a fear I'd never seen in her before. "Because you need to see. You need to get close. Your dog Max didn't die of old age last week, Theo, and you aren't sick from old age either." My blood ran cold. Max, my German shepherd, had died suddenly 3 days ago. Benjamin said his heart just gave out. "What do you know?" I demanded, gripping her arm. She pulled away gently. "I can't say it here. Walls have ears, and that son-in-law of yours has eyes everywhere. But you take that key. Go to the back garden tonight. Wait in the hydrangeas." She started to walk away, then stopped and looked back. "At midnight, Theo. At midnight you will see, and you will understand everything, and God help you when you do." She disappeared into her apartment, leaving me standing in the hallway with a rusty key and a heart filled with terror. I went back to my window and raised my binoculars. The sun was setting, the street lights flickered on. My house looked peaceful. Warm golden light spilled from the living room windows. It looked like the perfect American home. But as the hours ticked by, I watched the transformation begin. At 9 p.m., a van pulled up. Men in black t-shirts got out carrying large, heavy cases. They weren't moving furniture. They were bringing equipment in, professional equipment, the kind you don't rent from U-Haul. At 10 p.m., the luxury cars started arriving. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys. They parked all along the street, blocking fire hydrants and driveways like they owned the neighborhood. These weren't the cars of friends or neighbors having a dinner party. These were the cars of predators with too much money and not enough conscience. I watched Benjamin open the front door. He wasn't wearing his usual casual clothes. He was wearing a tuxedo. A real tuxedo, not a rental. He greeted the men getting out of the cars with handshakes and back slaps. He looked like the owner of the world, like he was hosting some kind of high society event. And then I saw Michelle. My heart broke into 1,000 pieces. She was standing by the door wearing a dress that was far too short, holding a tray of drinks. She wasn't greeting guests as a hostess. She was working. She wasn't an architect tonight. She was a waitress, a servant in her own father's house. My brilliant daughter reduced to serving drinks to strangers in the home I'd built with my own sweat. I watched a man grab her arm as she passed by. He whispered something in her ear and laughed. Michelle didn't slap him. She didn't pull away. She forced a smile, a terrible broken smile, and poured him a drink. That smile broke something inside me. It was the smile of someone who had given up, someone who had been beaten down until they had no dignity left. I looked at the clock, 11:30. Mrs. Lewis's words echoed in my mind. "At midnight, you will see." I grabbed the rusty key. I grabbed my binoculars. I left the apartment and ran down the stairs, ignoring the dizziness, ignoring the pain in my joints. Whatever was wrong with me, whatever Benjamin had done to me, I had to see this through. I crossed the dark alleyway that separated our streets. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely fit the key into the lock of the old iron gate covered in ivy. It groaned and clicked. I slipped inside my own backyard like a thief in the night. I crept through the shadows, moving toward the house I had built with my own money and sweat. I hid in the thick hydrangea bushes just under the living room window. The music was loud now, thumping through the glass like a heartbeat, but it wasn't party music. It was the soundtrack to something darker. I raised myself up slowly, inch by inch, until I could see through the gap in the velvet curtains. I looked inside and my breath stopped completely. My living room was gone. The furniture my wife and I had collected for 25 years was pushed against the walls or gone entirely. In the center of the room were green felt tables, roulette wheels, card tables, stacks of chips higher than I'd ever seen outside Las Vegas. It was a casino, a high-stakes illegal casino operating right in my living room. Smoke filled the air like fog rolling in from the ocean. Men were shouting and laughing, throwing stacks of cash onto my antique coffee table like it was kindling for a fire. They were drinking from my crystal glasses, the ones we saved for Christmas, and ashing their cigars on my hardwood floors. I watched a man spill red wine on the Persian rug Rebecca had inherited from her mother. He didn't even look down, he just laughed and kept betting. But that wasn't what made me faint. I shifted my gaze to the fireplace. Above the mantel, there had always been a large oil painting of my late wife, Rebecca. It was my most prized possession, painted by a local artist for our 20th anniversary. The painting was gone. In its place was a large digital screen displaying odds and bets, flashing numbers like a stock exchange from hell, and leaning against the fireplace, waiting to be used as firewood, was the frame of Rebecca's portrait. The canvas had been ripped out, torn right down the middle of her beautiful face. They had destroyed the only image I had left of the woman I loved more than life itself. I felt a sharp pain in my chest, like a knife twisting. My vision blurred, the world tilted sideways. The last thing I saw before the darkness took me was Benjamin standing on my dining room table, holding up my grandfather's gold pocket watch, auctioning it off to a man with a scar running down his left cheek. And then I hit the ground. I woke up gasping for air like a man drowning. My chest felt bruised and heavy, my head pounding like a jackhammer. I wasn't in the dirt anymore. I was lying on a floral sofa that smelled of lavender and old memories. Mrs. Lewis was sitting in her rocking chair, watching me with eyes that had seen too much cruelty to be surprised by anything. She didn't ask how I felt. Instead, she reached into her apron pocket and tossed a small amber glass bottle onto the coffee table. It spun like a top and stopped right in front of my face. It had no label, just dried glue residue where one used to be. "Where did you get this?" I asked, my voice sounding like gravel in a cement mixer. "I pulled it out of your kitchen trash 2 days ago," she said, her voice calm as a lake before a storm. "I saw that son-in-law of yours scraping the label off before he threw it away deep in the bin. Buried it under coffee grounds and orange peels like he was hiding evidence. I picked up the bottle with trembling hands. It was heavier than it looked. I didn't think much of it until I saw you shaking like a leaf yesterday," she continued. "So I had my nephew Tony look at it. He works in a lab downtown. It's arsenic, Theo, low dose, but steady. Enough to make your hands shake so bad you can't sign important papers. Enough to make you confused so you think you're losing your mind, but not enough to kill you quick." The room started spinning again, not from the poison this time, but from the sheer magnitude of the betrayal. "He wants you slow, Theo. He wants you weak so you can't fight back when he takes what's yours. He's been feeding you death one spoonful at a time." I tried to stand up, rage flooding my system like adrenaline. "I have to call the police," I said, reaching for my phone. "I have to tell them what he's doing." Mrs. Lewis stood up faster than I thought possible for a woman her age. She grabbed my wrist with surprising strength. "Stop and think," she hissed. "Use that engineer brain of yours. You call the police now, and what happens? They show up and see an older man claiming his young, successful son-in-law is poisoning him. No proof but an old lady's word and a bottle from the trash. Benjamin will say you're having another episode. He'll say you threw out old medicine and forgot about it." She was right. The bitter taste of truth was harder to swallow than any poison. He'll hide that casino operation and clean everything out before the first patrol car even turns the corner. You need real proof, Theo. You need to catch him red-handed with evidence that can't be explained away. I spent the rest of that night and the next day planning. Mrs. Lewis made me strong black coffee and dry toast to settle my stomach while I regained my strength. We talked strategy like generals preparing for battle. The next morning, I walked across the street and back into my house. The sun was shining like nothing had happened. The luxury cars were gone. The street was quiet as a cemetery. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside, my heart hammering against my ribs. The house was spotless. The air was thick with the chemical sting of industrial bleach, strong enough to burn my nostrils. The green felt tables had vanished. The furniture was back in its exact original positions. Even the portrait of Rebecca was back over the mantel, though I could see where they had hastily taped the torn canvas together from behind. It was a perfect illusion, but I knew the truth now. Benjamin and Michelle were sitting at the kitchen island eating pancakes and drinking orange juice like nothing had happened. The domestic scene was so normal, it felt like stepping into a parallel universe. Benjamin looked up and his fork froze halfway to his mouth. For a split second, I saw pure terror in his eyes, the look of a man seeing a ghost he thought was safely buried. "Theo," he stammered, standing up so fast his chair scraped across the floor like fingernails on a chalkboard. "You're back? We thought you were on the plane to Florida. We missed you so much." I gripped the handle of my suitcase until my knuckles turned white. I looked at the man who had been slowly murdering me for weeks. I forced my face into a mask of confusion and exhaustion. I missed my flight. I lied, my voice flat as concrete. And I forgot my heart medication. I need to rest. I walked past them toward my bedroom, leaving them standing in the kitchen like statues, terrified of the man they had failed to kill. Over the next 3 days, I played the part of a broken old man while secretly building the strongest case of my engineering career. I contacted Anthony Rodriguez, my old surveillance specialist friend from our construction days. We'd worked together installing security systems on job sites where expensive equipment kept disappearing. "Theo, you sound terrible," Anthony said when I called him from a payphone downtown. "What's going on?" "I need eyes and ears, Tony. The kind that can't be detected." Within hours, we had installed tiny cameras disguised as screws in light switches and smoke detectors throughout my house. The technology was incredible. Each camera was no bigger than a shirt button, but could record in high definition with perfect audio. I also called Katherine Johnson, Rebecca's old family lawyer. She'd handled our will and estate planning for years. "Katherine, I need an emergency trust transfer. Tonight. Theo, it's 2 a.m. I know what time it is. My life depends on this. By 3 a.m. we had transferred the deed to my brownstone into a revocable living trust. Any power of attorney Benjamin might forge would be completely worthless. He could try to sell a house I no longer technically owned. Meanwhile, Benjamin accelerated his timeline. The arsenic doses increased. He thought I was too weak to notice, but I'd started spitting out everything he gave me. I pretended to take my medications while secretly disposing of them in tissues I kept in my pocket. The psychological warfare intensified too. My glasses would disappear and reappear in the freezer. My wallet vanished from my pocket and showed up soaking wet in the laundry room. Every time, Benjamin was there with that practiced look of concern, suggesting I needed professional help and constant supervision. But now I had digital evidence of everything. The cameras captured his staged confusion tactics. They recorded his phone calls with Nicholas Williams, the loan shark pressuring him for $750,000. They documented his plans for another casino night and his discussions with Michelle about putting me in that cheap facility where old people go to die. The second casino night was bigger than the first. More luxury cars lined the street like a parade of greed. More equipment was hauled into my living room. More of my family heirlooms disappeared into the hands of strangers with too much money and no conscience, but this time was different. This time, I was live streaming everything to Facebook and YouTube simultaneously using the hidden cameras. I watched from my bedroom as the viewer count climbed. 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 people watching Benjamin destroy my home in real time. The comments were flying by so fast, they looked like digital rain. "Call the police. This is insane. Someone help that old man. I'm recording this." The evidence was being backed up on servers across the internet, faster than Benjamin could ever erase it. When Benjamin tried to get another loan against the house and discovered it was no longer in my name, he snapped completely. The mask of the charming son-in-law fell away, revealing the desperate animal underneath. He grabbed Michelle and held a kitchen knife to her throat, screaming at me to fix it, to sign the papers, to give him what he wanted. But by then, the whole world was watching. 20,000 viewers saw him threaten to kill his own wife on live television. Sheriff Charlie Davis and his team arrived like cavalry in an old western. Benjamin was arrested on camera, watched by an online audience that had grown to 25,000 people. The evidence was overwhelming. The arsenic poisoning, the loan fraud, the illegal gambling operation, the assault with a deadly weapon, all recorded in crystal-clear high definition. 3 months later, I sat in a federal courtroom listening to Judge Harrison deliver Benjamin's sentence. 22 years in prison, without the possibility of early parole. Michelle, who'd been convicted as an accessory to attempted murder and fraud, received 7 years. She looked at me one last time as the bailiffs led her away, her lips forming the words, "I'm sorry, Dad," but some betrayals cut deeper than any knife. Some wounds don't heal just because someone says they're sorry. I sold the house for exactly $950,000 to a young couple from California who talked about raising children there and creating new memories. I didn't tell them about the poison in the kitchen or the bullet hole in the basement wall that I'd patched and painted over. I let them have their fresh start. With the money from the sale, plus my retirement savings and the life insurance settlement, I bought a 42-foot luxury RV. It had solar panels, satellite internet, and a kitchen better than most apartments. It was freedom on wheels. Mrs. Lewis sold her place too. The neighborhood had gotten too expensive for people on fixed incomes, and there were too many ghosts in those old walls. We weren't lovers. We were two old soldiers who'd survived the same war. Now we're 3 months into a cross-country journey, seeing America the way it was meant to be seen, free and on our own terms. We've watched the sunrise over the Grand Canyon, eaten lobster rolls in Maine, and driven through small towns where people still wave at strangers. I'm 56 years old, and I've learned something important. Family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about who stands with you when everyone else walks away. Sometimes the people who love you most are the ones who'll tell you the hard truths you need to hear. The road stretches out ahead of us like a promise. I've built my last bridge over troubled waters. Now I'm just enjoying the journey. Here's what I want you to remember from my story. Trust your gut when something feels wrong. That feeling exists for a reason. Protect what's yours with everything you've got, because there are people out there who'll take it if you let them. And never be afraid to cut toxic people out of your life, even if they share your DNA. Blood doesn't give anyone the right to poison your peace. If someone in your family is destroying your life, whether it's with actual poison or just their toxic behavior, you have the right to save yourself. You're never too old to start over. You're never too weak to fight back. And you're never alone if you know where to look for real allies. Don't wait for permission to protect yourself. Take control of your own story before someone else writes the ending for you.